Hello all, welcome to oratonews.com. In this session, we'll discuss about pivot table feature in Microsoft Excel. So what is pivot table? It is kind of an interactive way to quickly summarize large amount of data. So now here in this example here, if you observe, I'm trying to show the number of employees for a given department as well as summation of a salary for a given department. So what we do is let us get the sample data in Excel sheet and try to understand how we can use this particular logic. Okay. So I'll just open one of the sample employee data, which I got it from other sources. So let me delete the other sheets which are not relevant. So here, if you observe, this is a employee data from Oracle database. It has all the relevant columns like employee date, first name, last name, email, phone number, height, date, job ID, salary, manager, as well as department. Now, w- first thing what I want to do is I just want to know how many employees are there in a particular department. So how do I do it? So I'll just simply create a new sheet. And in the new sheet, I'll click on Insert, Pivot Table. And the requirement is to display the number of employees, nothing but the count of employees in each department. So I just, I'll repeat, click on Insert, Pivot Table. And here it is asking what is the source and in which sheet you want to create. So whether like the number of ways you can create it, you can just create in this particular existing worksheet because it's a plain sheet which I created. So I just want to display the pivot table here in this sheet. And the table range, what we do, so what is the source of this particular data? For the pivot table, you require a data source, right? So now for this one, what I require is I just want to know the number of employees in each department. So I can simply select this particular column as well as the other like employee ID column, right? So nothing but it got selected, right? Or maybe what I can do is in the easiest way, let's say I'll select all the columns also because the department is at the K position and the employee is at the A position. So what is the easiest thing I can do is simply select all the columns. And of course, which is not relevant, but it's okay. So now what I'll do in the row section, so you just simply drag and drop the rows here, the department. So now it is displaying the unique department data here. And also we have blank department also. Now what we want to require a count of number of employees. You can simply drag and drop the employee ID. And now what it is doing a summation, but we require a count. So what you can do in the value section, it is summary. It provides a lot number of summary functionalities. So you can just click on value field settings. And here you can select what is the appropriate one you require, whether you want to count, average, max, min, and the other stuff, the other statistical related functionalities. I'll simply go with count. So now it is displaying the number of employees in each particular department. So we can just do a formatting stuff. So like adding a lines and all those things, you can do it here, borders. Now let us say if you want to add up the summation of salaries, what we can do. Now here if you observe, when I clicked on non-other cells, non-pivot cells, it is not displaying the pivot feature at all. Just click on this particular pivot cells, it shows the feature. And you can click on this pivot table tools, you can find lot number of other stuff also. Now here if you observe one particular logic is refresh. So what do you require this refresh means? So now this pivot table is based on which data. You just click here and click on change data source and it shows to which sheet or which place, like what is the data source of this one. So it is getting the data from this particular sheet. And assume that if you had changed some values in this particular column, so it will not reflect in the pivot table automatically. What you have to do is you have to click on pivot table analyze and click on refresh or refresh all like this so that it will regenerate this particular data again. Now let's say if you want to add up one more field. Now what I want to do is I just want to add up summation of salaries, right? So I'll drag and drop salary here. And for salary, we got the summation of salaries. This is okay, right? We just required this logic and we are able to get it. Now let's try another set of fields. Like maybe what I'll do is again, I'll click on insert and here pivot table and it is asking the table range. So I'll again select all the table data. You can select column wise like this better. This is the best option and click on OK. And let's say we want to get the data based on the job ID. So now for each job ID, I just want to know how many employees are there. So I'll just click job ID and drag and drop. So I'll get all the list of employees. And of course, it is going with summation by default. Click here, click on field settings and click on count. Okay. So this is how we can just use the pivot features. And you can, if at all, if you want to change the data source, sometimes what may happen is you don't want to select all the columns and you can change the data source also. You can click on change data source and you can mention the appropriate columns manually, or you can select the columns by using the mouse. Now, we have one more feature called pivot chart. So what you can do is like I'll select my pivot table. Let us say I'll select this pivot table and click on pivot chart, and you can observe that like it is displaying this particular chart, and you can select the appropriate chart, and click on insert. And what you can do, you can just move it to appropriate position like this. Okay. And the same thing, like you can, like as of now, we have not selected a large number of things. In the row section, we just select only one particular stuff, right? So let us create new sheet, and I want to show you a few more functionalities now. So click on insert pivot table from table range, and here I'll select all the columns again. Okay. Now, so here in the row section, let us say I'll just add a job, and I'll add a department also. Now here, if you observe what is happening, so it is providing set of filters for a given particular job and for a given particular department. Like let us say what is the salary, like this also we can do summation of salary. It is a little bit, it is not showing visually correctly here for us, but functionality wise it is performing perfectly. Or maybe the easiest thing I'll show here, like let us say I want to add a filter here. So now what I want to do is, let us say, so what I have done, I just added filter level, filter department ID at this level, and you can just select. Let us say I'll select department 10, and for the department 10, so how many jobs are there, and what is the salary of those things? So like it is adding up a filter at the a pivot level. Also, we can add up a filter. Okay, and you can add up multiple filters also. Now let us say you can add up columns also. Let us say if you want to add up manager ID. So now what is happening? So for this manager 101, and for this particular job, for this department, for this job, and for this manager is a salary. Or maybe easiest thing, I'll just go with a count, let's say, and we can remove filter, and let us see how it works, right? So now what is happening? By this, we can easily visually understand the total data in a very easier manner. So now here, if you observe, you can just understand here, there are 14 employees. There are 14 employees under manager 100, and they belong to these set of departments, right? And by this, you can understand, if you are in in a particular organization, you want to understand what is the load of a particular manager, how many employees are there under that manager, and what are the departments, you can easily find out like this. And if at all, if you want to find out the hire date or some for each particular department, let us say how much amount you're spending, and that also we can do it, right? Now let us say I can just do here, instead of count of salary, I'll just say value field settings, I'll do a summation of salary, and you can understand and how much each manager is spending for salaries and each department. Now let us say 100 employee, like manager ID 100, it is spending, they are spending around 34,000 for the vice president role, or maybe 13,000 for the milkman, and 11,000 for the PU man, right? Or stationary man, like that. So by this, you can easily visually represent the data in a very easier manner and take the appropriate action for the business point of view. Okay, thank you.